Hello there, you're with NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. It's the last hour of voting in Karnataka. Voting has been underway since 7 in the morning for the assembly polls. The voter turnout at 3 p.m. was recorded as 52.2%. Voting is taking place in a single phase for the 224-member state assembly. It's been an intense and often bitter campaign that one has seen over the last month or more. Political heavyweights crisscrossed across Karnataka to woo the voters. The BJP is hoping for another straight term. The Congress is banking on the revolving door trend, and the JDS, which dominates in about 61 seats, may either play a spoiler or a kingmaker. The results of this election could be an indication for the bigger 2024 battle, and that's why the stakes are running high. While the ruling BJP aims to break a 38-year jinx in the southern state, which has never voted an incumbent party to power since 1985, the Congress hopes to return to power, riding on allegations of corruption against the Bomai government. Prime Minister Modi made a fresh appeal to voters on the eve of the Karnataka Assembly elections, urging them to come to vote on the 10th of May for a bright future. This prompted the Congress to approach the Election Commission of India, citing violation of the Model Code of Conduct since he was speaking in the silence period. Meanwhile, all big leaders started casting their ballots since morning. This is Jagdish Shettar, who cast his vote. Remember, he's one of the Lingayat leaders who quit the BJP and joined the Congress party after he was denied a ticket by the BJP, citing him as a veteran leader who should make way for others in the party. B.S. Yediyurappa, there you have him on your television screens now, senior BJP leader, one whom the BJP currently, despite his age, depends upon. Remember, B.S. Yediyurappa is the person who has been largely responsible for the rise of the BJP in Karnataka, and him being a heavyweight within the party, he was one of the first few people to have cast his ballot this morning. Now to the Congress party on your television screens now, D.K. Shivakumar, one of the biggest leaders of the Congress party, also in the fray for possible chief ministership if the party comes to power, and this at a time when earlier on Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar were contesting for the top job, but now in the days just before the election, the two of them showing signs of being together and fighting as one. That's Siddaramaiah casting his vote this morning. Let's quickly take a look at the various reactions that have come in since morning as leaders and the voters cast their ballot.
So we have travelled out of the city of Bengaluru, nearly 30 kilometers. We've come to a village to show you the rural picture as well. This is H. Gollaralli, and this comes under the constituency of Yeshwantpur, the second largest in Bengaluru. In fact, has at least about 5.5 lakh voters and has an interesting mix of both the urban and rural areas. In fact, there are multiple factors that play, issues like civic issues, infrastructure, development, that have all dominated citizen debates. In fact, if I could go across to a few citizens here to understand what really are their issues. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂನ್ಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳು ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿ?
ನಮ್ಮೂರಾಗೆ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳು ಐತೆ, ರೋಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಡವ್ರ ಬಗ್ರಿಗೆ ಮನೆಗಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಸೈಟ್ಗಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಹೇಳ್ದಲ್ಲ ಉಣಕ್ ಮಸಾಣ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸೌಕರ್ಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರೇ.
ಓಕೆ,
ನಂದೇನು ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳೋದು ಅದೇ
ಸೇಮ್, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇ. ಮೇನ್ ರೋಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
ಸೌಕರ್ಯಗಳು ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಸೌಕರ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗಳು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಂಥವೆಲ್ಲ ಮೂಲ ಸೌಕರ್ಯಗಳು ಯಾವುದು ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಮೋರಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಮೊದ್ಲಿಗೆಲ್ಲಾನು 5 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಈಚೆಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಕೆಲ್ಸಗಳು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹಾರೈಸ್ತೀವಿ.
ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಬಡವ್ರ ಬಗ್ರು ಮನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಠ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೂಲಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಮೇನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರಕ್ಕೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ 6 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ 7 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಟದ ಮೈದಾನಗಳಿಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ, ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೌಕರ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು.
Well, very interesting voices that's coming out from rural areas. this is the pink booth that has been dedicated for the women in the rural areas. So some of the key issues, other than what's been touched upon, especially in the rural areas, are what they ask for is the basic facilities such as playgrounds for children. They're talking about health centers, primary health centers. In fact, if these people, the citizens, have to go to primary health centers, they will have to travel at least about 7 to 8 kilometers, in fact, to get the facilities or services. They do not have a robust system. Forget a city here, right in this particular village, you do not have roads so that they can commute and go to the city. All that they ask for is basic bus services, which has not been done over the last 5 years. So these are the rural voices that we are getting, from H. Golarahalli. All this while we got you voices from the city where they went out to talk about development, progress, and also ensuring that Bengaluru does not flood. But on the other side, you have especially these rural voices asking for just basic infrastructure, whether that is roads or even for that matter, children, playgrounds for children or bus services for them to commute from point A to point B. Now, to give you a view, to understand what really this constituency is about, it has about 5 lakh voters, and whether there are a lot of other issues to be discussed, like key issues, it all boils down to caste, because it's a prestige battle of this very constituency. You have the battle of the Gowdas, and as far as the BJP candidate, Mr. S.T. Somashekar from the BJP, he's the candidate from the BJP. He's engineered defections back in 2019, which led to the fall or toppling of the the JDS and the Congress government, eventually letting the BJP come to power. So he has engineered defections, and now he's one of the candidates. He's eyeing for another term here, but we understand there is anti-incumbency in this constituency. And then second, of course, it's a very, very tight and a close contest between Mr. S.T. Somashekar and the JDS's Javarai Gowda, because Javarai Gowda has been out of power for several terms, at least about 3 terms. And we see right now, the voter sentiments are that it could be a sympathy wave towards Mr. Javarai Gowda. So the third contestant, of course, we are looking at Mr. Balraj Gowda. This is especially from the Congress. But as far as the Yeshwantpur constituency is concerned, it all once again boils down to caste. But we must look into it as far as the second largest constituency, especially in the rural side. All that they ask for is a basic infrastructure such as playgrounds for children, roads and bus services. In Golarahalli, Yeshwantpur constituency, with Kumar Shrija for NDTV.
All right, let me now go across to our guests who are joining us here on the show as Karnataka continues to vote in the last 50 minutes, really. Pratap Kanagal, JDS spokesperson, here with us. R.P. Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP, will be joining us shortly, is already there as well. And we'll also have with us spokesperson of Karnataka Congress, Dhruv Jatti, in just a bit. Let me first go across to Pratap Kanagal. Pratap Kanagal, on the ground as of now, as of 3 p.m., we have seen a voter turnout of 52.2%. As compared to the past, is this voter turnout good enough for Karnataka? Pratap Kanagal, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm audible? No?
Can you hear me? Please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, okay. As you said, up to 3 p.m. it was 52% of voting, percentage. But, another next 3 hours will be crucial. We are expecting it to touch around 72 to 75% of voting at least. So especially basically if you look at the large number of votes which are in urban, like Bangalore city and all, it's normally Bangalore city last year compared to last year. It was last time it was very less. But we have to see, if it turns out to be a good voting, by end at 6 o'clock. These are whatever the 52% what you said is it's in this thing. But once we get this election commissioner's voting percentage, we will get a clear idea on that. But as per the reports, like what we are getting, the rural side, the voting is in a very good, percentage.
All right, and that's Pratap Kanagal, usually the case that the rural parts people come out and vote, while urban apathy, urban voter apathy is often seen something which is pretty, troublesome, has troubled the Election Commission in the past as well. Dhruv Jati, want to come to you now. If the voter percentage, say, is above the average that we see in Karnataka, will it be advantage to any of the parties?
Firstly, see, the Congress party is extremely happy to see such a large voter turnout because this signifies A, poor governance and what I would say a mistrust of the people with the government, and B, a wave of anti-incumbency. So the big hint that we should be taking before the exit polls is that there is a lot of faith that's being shown in the opposition party, else the voter turnout would have been much lesser. So, if not for anything, the pre-polls that we've been running across show a clean-cut mandate for the Congress party, and our polling agents currently are putting in the best efforts to maximize voter turnout across the entire state. So now coming to your question, voter turnout last time was about 72%. So today, if we see a plus or minus of about 5 to 7%, it would be advantage Congress, because this would in fact result in major 4 key things that we have to take note of. That's A, anti-incumbency, B, what I would say, a people versus ruling party election, C, trust in the opposition, and D, a failure of what I would say divisive politics and emotive politics that the Bharatiya Janata Party went on to play in the last 3 days of the election.
All right, but a lot of experts now believe that the mood of the people based on the voter turnout sometimes does go awry. RP Singh, I want to come to you on that count. Does it often go, the reverse of what we have often earlier on seen, that if the numbers of people who are stepping out to vote is high, that means there is huge anti-incumbency. Have we seen that trend being bucked in the past?
Well, I mean, there's nothing like a fixed thing which is there, like whether it is more voting or less voting. And we can't say which way it will go because it depends on people's mood. I mean, at times people come and vote in large number because they want the government to continue. At times they want to vote against the government. That's why they come in large number and vote. So it depends on state to state. It varies from state to state. And also, I strongly feel that people can still understand, and then they know it very well, that who is Dakshak and who is Pakshak. And that's the difference between the two. And then whether it is the cultural or whether it's the developmental part, in both the issues, they will differentiate between the Rakshak and Pakshak, and then they'll vote accordingly.
All right. We'll wait for the verdict of the people, of the voters there, clearly, as they are stepping out in the last 45 minutes now also to cast their ballot. Though Pratap Kanagal, during the afternoon, we saw a bit of a lull, at least in the urban areas. Now, as far as the JDS is concerned, is your party largely dependent more on the rural voter, or do you believe that the urban voters are equally important for your party?
See, basically, it's nothing like only rural voters are important or urban voters are important. But if you look at the past, if you look at the in the trends of in the past, whatever, like maybe three, four assembly elections, it is always rural voters who come out and vote in large numbers, and urban voters mainly very very dull voting, especially urban areas. It's either it will be in the first either early morning or in the late evening. It's certain vote will be higher, but in rural it is all day, entire day. You can see that queues outside the polling booths. So for us, as far as JDS is concerned, it's like JDS is always believe in always been a pro farmers party and pro Kannadigas party, and so it is always more of urban urban in urban where the people who are come and settled in urban areas are supporting JDS, and in rural we have a very good vote base in rural, and so So it's both are equally important for us.
All right, both urban rural voters are important for the JDS is what Pratap Kanagal is saying there. Dhruv Jati, coming to you. For the Congress party, which constituency is more important? I know, as Pratap Kanagal said, both are, and I think most political parties will continue to say that till at least the voting closes. But realistically speaking, which constituency does the Congress party depend more on?
To answer your question, every single constituency is equally important for us. There are places where we have some constituencies where there's a three-way fight, some constituencies where there are even independents, who are denting vote banks of not just the Congress but different parties as well. So when you look at it, what's most interesting for us this time is going to be the Kittur Karnataka region, because that's where we saw Mr. Lakshman Savadi and Mr. Jagdish Chatterjee, who joined the Congress party. So that's going to be a key watch for us. We want to see how our vote share and our seat share is going to increase in this particular region. In Kalyan, Karnataka, we seem pretty comfortable. Through our surveys, it shows that we are on the front foot. And even in the region, we had the Mekidatu Padayatra, which gave us great connect with southern Karnataka. And with Bangalore City, you've seen the ACM, which went viral everywhere. So when you look at it, it's in favor of the Congress party.
All right, we've seemed to have lost our link there with Dhruv Jati. We'll go, reconnect with him. But RP Singh, how significant is this election for the BJP specifically? After all, Karnataka is the only state in the south in which the BJP had a government.
Well, we contest each and every election with the zeal of winning elections. And it's not that, every election is significant. I mean, whether it is a bypoll in Jalandhar, for example, or bypoll in other states also, or whether it's an election in Karnataka, each and every election is equally important for us. But especially Karnataka, you rightly said, because that's the state where we have served the people in last many years now, and we will like to serve the people again for the next 5 years, especially keeping in mind that we have provided for 48 lakh public toilets for the women, and then for every household. We have given 1 crore 1 lakh tap water to the families in the Karnataka. We have given 7 lakh houses under Awas Yojana to women. We have given something like 31.5 lakh gas cylinder under Ujjwala scheme. We have given something like 31.74 lakh.
I'll just interrupt you there, sir, because I'm not sure. We are still during the process of voting at the moment, and I'm not sure if the schemes that you are pointing out of the BJP government can at the moment be spelled out. Yes. So I'm just asking you a political overview, sir. Significance of Karnataka for the BJP.
Well, as per your point of whether we can or not, I was just sharing what government has done. Not that I'm seeking vote on this, what government of Karnataka has done in the last 5 years. I was just trying to share that. So, but that point aside, fact is that people are, as I said, people can identify between the Rakshak and the Bakshak, who will take care of your culture and development, and who will be taking side of vote bank because of the appeasement. And that's the difference. And then people are going to vote keeping in mind the Rakshak, people who will safeguard the culture and also ensure that development goes on. And then people are not taken care because they want to appease certain community.
All right, so that's the viewpoint of the BJP. They believe that the Bomai government, the incumbent government rather, can continue in power, though since 1985 we haven't seen a government make a comeback, and perhaps that's what the Congress is depending on. The JDS, of course, strong in at least 60 seats, hoping to play the role of a kingmaker, if nothing else, in this election. We're taking a very quick break. Our guests are going to stay on with us, and we'll continue our focus on the Karnataka elections, the 224 member assembly for which the people are casting their ballot in the last 45 minutes of voting now.
Co-powered by in a deeply polarized world where space for disagreement is shrinking, where take it or leave it defines discourse. We take a step back. A debate has many facets, perhaps no one right answer. Left, right and center, conversations that get to the core of the debate. Left, right and center with me, Vishnu Shom, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
20 years since we started, this music has been with you, playing in your homes, at work, and in your car. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Calling all music buffs from across India to let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track for the world to hear. Log on to ndtv.com/bestofndtv to access the original track. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for two to the luxurious Alila Fort, Bishangarh, Rajasthan. NDTV 24/7. 20th year celebrations.
Congress people have been perpetrating the PFI and organizations like that.
कर्नाटक की सरकार ने पिछले 3 साल में क्या किया, उसके बारे में प्रधानमंत्री एक शब्द नहीं बोलते।
This time, BJP is going to come back with thumping majority in spite of some leaders leaving the party.
प्रदेश की बीजेपी सरकार है, वो 40% सरकारा के नाम से प्रसिद्ध हुई है।
Unnecessarily, these Congress people charging corruption charges.
A BJP manifesto has completely failed.
I am also an aspirant for the Chief Minister post. Mr. D.K. Shivkumar is also an aspirant.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story. India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
Gadget 360 is here to help you with all your tech needs. Gadget 360, Gadget Love. Gadget 360, Gadgets Love. You too can get some gadget love with buying guides, expert reviews, and all the latest news on Gadget 360.
20 years since we started, this music has been with you. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track. Log on to ndtv.com/bestofndtv. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for two. NDTV 24/7. 20th year celebration.
In a deeply polarized world, where space for disagreement is shrinking, where take it or leave it defines discourse, we take a step back. A debate has many facets, perhaps no one right answer. Left, right and center, conversations that get to the core of the debate. Left, right and center with me, Vishnu Shom, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
20 years since we started, this music has been with you, playing in your homes, at work, and in your car. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Calling all music buffs from across India to let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track for the world to hear. Log on to ndtv.com/bestofndtv to access the original track. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for two to the luxurious Alila Fort, Bishangarh, Rajasthan. NDTV 24/7. 20th year celebrations.
Congress people have been perpetrating the PFI and organizations like that.
कर्नाटक की सरकार ने पिछले 3 साल में क्या किया उसके बारे में प्रधानमंत्री एक शब्द नहीं बोलते।
Welcome back. In a high-stakes battle in Karnataka, the last half an hour left for voters to make their ballot count. 52.2% was the voter percentage till about 3 p.m. Did it match up to what we have seen in the past in Karnataka? Well, going by what our reporters are pointing out, that less urban voter apathy seen this time. People in Bengaluru especially, which is infamous for voter apathy, seen stepping out, casting their ballot. As far as rural Karnataka is concerned, that hasn't really ever been a problem, and the number of people turning up to vote in rural Karnataka has been fairly good. But 52.2% is the voter percentage till about 3 p.m. We'll have to wait to see what the final figures are by the Election Commission. Let's quickly go across to our guests now. Sogato Srinivas Raju, senior journalist here in the studio with us. Aarti Jairat, senior journalist here in the studio as well. Rajat Sethi, political analyst. Dhruv Jatti, spokesperson Karnataka Congress, as well as Pratap Kanagal, JDS spokesperson, and RP Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP. Aarti Jairat, coming first to you now. 52.2% is what we are seeing as of now, at least till 3 p.m. has been the voter turnout. Our reporter says that even in urban parts of Karnataka, we are seeing a fairly good voter turnout. Does this say anything about the high-stakes battle in Karnataka? Can we analyze this, this voting trend?
So, I mean, traditionally it's said that if there's a higher voter turnout, it means an anti-incumbency wave against the ruling party. A lower voter turnout means, that the ruling party should make it home safe. But, I find more and more in recent elections we've seen that you can't draw such easy conclusions from a voter turnout. Yes. And just because there's a high voter turnout does not necessarily mean that it's an anti-incumbency. It also suggests that it's a highly competitive battle. So both sides are, putting a lot of energy into getting their voters out. So, but of course, let's see the final figures. This is only till 3 o'clock and it's still 20% short of what it was 5 years ago.
Isn't that good if, Saugata, if political parties are making that effort to bring voters out and help them cast their votes?
No, the good news from Bangalore, I don't really give the credit to the political parties.
Okay.
There have been a lot of civic activism, which has been sort of, working endlessly to bring voters out and, campaigning really hard. So there are these, well-meaning people who are trying to bring them out. So Bangalore, if you see a slightly higher percentage of voting that has taken place, much more than one thought it would be, because Bangalore is always laid back a little bit. But if you have seen a little higher thing, it's perhaps because these do-gooders have done well. And also, you can't completely discount the fact that, Modi focused his campaign in Bangalore, which is a cluster of 28 seats. So if the BJP thought it was not doing very well elsewhere, then they probably thought it's good to concentrate on a cluster of seats and come and campaign hard in Bangalore. So the entire Bangalore got shut down for 2-3 days when Prime Minister Modi was campaigning. So that could also be there. So as Aarti ji mentioned, it could be it's a very competitive space. So we don't know, but by and large, my reading is it's very status quoist. Okay. It is like what it was last time. So there is no great, enthusiasm. Neither is there a kind of, reluctance. So we have to watch for the final figure.
Rajat Sethi, a very interesting point that our reporter raised from Bengaluru, when she said that the election this time is taking place in the middle of the week. Sometimes when it's towards the weekend, people in Bengaluru think of it as a long weekend and go away. Why do we continuously see this kind of voter apathy in urban India? And it's something that the Election Commission has also raised. Why don't they find it necessary to stay back and vote? I mean, Bengaluru has seen so many problems, water logging, traffic issues. Isn't that reason enough to step out and vote?
Well, I think Election Commission has tried a new experiment this time by conducting this election in the middle of the week. Last time it was around the weekend. And there are both pros and cons of doing this exercise. Some of the comments that I'm receiving from the ground is that people who are staying in Bangalore largely for work will have to travel 400, 500 kilometers to go out and just vote for one day and then come back in. Isn't that sort of a disincentive for people to just, go back to their villages and then come again? So it's going to be a mixed bag. I mean, they tried doing it on the weekend and you saw everybody last time going off on vacations. But is this experiment going to work? I have my doubts, and I think, as Shaugataji was mentioning, largely you will see the numbers hovering around the 2018 mark. It won't be spectacularly different from that.
Okay. Pratap Kanagal, you were saying that rural Karnataka has, as you were mentioning, generally seen a good voter turnout. It's usually urban areas where people don't step out. Has that meant anything good for the JDS, and do you believe that the JDS this time around as well, with perhaps an equal number of people in rural Karnataka stepping out, would be advantage JDS?
Yeah, so of course, as I said, for us, it's like, as I said, it's both the voters are important, but at the same time, it's been like, we have been fortunate.
All right, we seem to have lost our audio there with Pratap Kanagal. We'll go back to him. RP Singh, just a short while back, we were talking about the significance of Karnataka as a state for the BJP, specifically because it's the only state down south that the BJP has. Will the results here also give us an indication of the big 2024 battle? How is the BJP viewing the results here?
Well, as I was saying earlier, for us, every election is important. That's why we have 1,377 roadshows and something like 9,770 street corners, public meetings, and otherwise. So this clearly shows that we treat elections as a serious subject. It's not that one of the ministers or one of the party president will come and in passing they'll do election campaigning and all. So for us, is the basis for democracy to move ahead, and that's why we have put all our best effort. And then yes, we are very sure that people of Karnataka are going to bless us to serve them again for the next 5 years also. And also, it's not yes, it's important for us. Karnataka is important for us, but it's not that this is the last. I mean, as I was telling, every election is equally important, whether it is a by-election in other states or whether it's Karnataka. We treat elections as part of the democracy and a very important part of the democracy.
Dhruv Jati, what kind of effort has the Congress party made over the last month or so in trying to send out the message that specifically your voters need to step out and cast their ballot?
In the last month or so, it started off with the guarantee cards. And these guarantee cards more or less were an assurance to the voters as to why they must vote for the Congress party. But to differ from you, I believe our election campaign was not limited just to the last month like the Bharatiya Janata Party. You can go through our track record for the past 2 years. You will see various mass mobilization programs such as the Mekadatu Padayatra, the Prajadwani Padayatra. You will see the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which walked the length and breadth of Karnataka, connecting with the most common workers. You will also see the massive Freedom March movement which we had in Karnataka, in Bangalore city. So if you look at it on the whole, the Congress party has been running a political campaign for 2 years, not just for the last month. But speaking about the last month specifically, it's the 5 guarantees that has reached the most common rural voter. You can go to even one of the most smallest villages in North Karnataka and you will be able to see that they are aware of the Congress party's 5 guarantees. And I can assure you today that the numbers that we're seeing so far are in favor of the Congress party.
I specifically want to ask you of the effort that is being made by political parties to get people out and vote. I mean, last half an hour left, But what is the kind of effort that political parties particularly put in getting the voter percentage to be higher than the last one?
The party's direct connect with the voter lies with the polling agent who's on ground in the booth. And since they have lists of people who belong to that particular constituency, they will of course do an outreach program to bring them to the polls and to vote. And I'm sure not just the Congress party, but multiple parties will be doing the same. And such an effort is in the spirit of democracy, and we should be encouraging it at the highest, because what we want to see is a maximum number of polls, especially for the Congress party, because we believe that the plus 5 to 7% is going to be beneficial for us compared to last year's 72%. We're looking for somewhere between 75 to 78% this year.
All right. RP Singh wants to come in. Go ahead, sir.
Well, we have a Panna Pramukh system where every polling booth, there's a Panna Pramukh who is in charge of a page, and that team goes house to house to ensure that every voter comes and vote. That's how we work. And also that, I mean, as far as guarantees goes, we all know what's happened in Rajasthan. The guarantees were made in Rajasthan and none was fulfilled, especially the farmers' waiver of the farmers' loan. Other farmers, when they came and protested, they were beaten by the police. So they were rather thrashed by the police when they seek the waiver of the loans, which was committed that it will be done within 10 days. So people understand and knows that what sort of guarantees are there and who will fulfill their guarantees and who will fulfill their promises also.
All right. Last 30 seconds left. Pratap Kanagal, you were making a point when your video froze, so go ahead.
No, I didn't get you.
You were making a point about rural versus urban voters.
See, yes, I was mentioning you that, like, we have been, like, blessed with, always been from the inception of the party, the rural work, especially the rural voters are being with JDS. So, and adding to that, more percentage of urban votes this time, as urban voters want the regional party to be in power because of the the jobs, the loss of jobs, and all those many issues, and the Hindi imposition, and there are many issues on the ground. So those factors are helping us to get even urban voters.
All right, we'll have to leave it at that. We have to take a very quick break at this juncture, but of course we'll keep our focus firmly on the Karnataka elections. Taking a very quick break.
Good evening and welcome. A huge day in Karnataka. Crucial elections. Who will rule the state for the next 5 years? My colleague Ankit Tyagi with me. I'll be joined also by my colleague Veera Raghav in the next little while. The Congress or the BJP? What about the JDS? Will they play the role of kingmaker? It's been a triangular contest. Voting is now over. We'll bring you the voting percentage shortly. And right after that, starting at about what, 6:30 or so?
Yeah.
6:30 or so, we'll start bringing you exit polls, not our own, but what others are forecasting.
So, important day. Karnataka is choosing. We'll know what the trends are, at least what the pollsters are saying. And on 13th, of course, it's their reputation and money online. We are only here to give you the numbers of what the pollsters, in fact, are predicting. But there is good reason not to do our own opinion polls. These have been known to be sometimes dreadfully wrong in the past as well. But they do give you a broad sense of which way is the wind blowing, and of course some broad talking points of how the election so far has fared. The results, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you earlier, will be on 13th May.
But what we are trying to do on this program is a deep dive into the data and indeed on the exit polls when they start popping up, and they should all start popping up sooner than later. Elections which are critical for all the three main parties for various reasons. Have these polls been fought on local issues, national issues, or will the victor emerge
on the basis of time-tested caste calculations. Will the victor emerge immediately or not is still not known, if the JDS is to have a role and if the BJP or the Congress don't hit that magic mark. Karnataka is so fabulously diverse, there may be no easy answer. Veera Raghav, would you agree with that? That let's not just assume anything. The diversity in the state, the differences between region to region, the politics within regions, within parties within regions, it lends itself or has lent itself to a fabulous election.
Absolutely, it always is in Karnataka a fabulous election, a chow chow bath as you call it, which has both your, both your khichdi as well as your rava sweet dish all put together. So it's like what we call it in Bangalore, and I think yes, it's a tough election to predict as always, because vote shares to seats conversion has always been a nightmare in Karnataka, which is perhaps we're going to stay away from that, and we're just going to tell you what others are going to predict and try and analyze that as well.
But Veera Raghav, I'm not going to let you and any of our guests go that easy. When it's time for exit poll, I'll ask you to put your money at 6:30 when we are starting, and then we'll see.
Veera Raghav has a lot of money to put on the table, I'm told.
No, that's a tradition. Everybody at least give a broader sense of who
politicians have a lot of money. Karnataka politicians have a lot of money, not the journalists.
That's true. That's actually also one of the states where that is why we have seen a very close contest, because possibly one of the states where the Congress party had the kind of resources to at least take on the BJP, if not match it at completely, rupee to rupee. But let's very quickly turn our focus and give you a sense of what's happening. So the voting officially is over. 6 p.m. is the cutoff time, so anybody who is inside the polling stations right now, they can still vote. But till 5 p.m., how many people, what is the voting percentage? 65.7% till 5 p.m. is the provisional data that has come in at this moment. It does look, going somewhere on the lines of what happened in 2018 when the total vote percentage was about 72.5%, Vishnu.
That is interesting. 72.5%, that was 72.7 among men, 71.5 among women in 2018. The provisional figure at 5 p.m., so there's still time. It might actually go above that. It might be below as well. We don't know, but 65.7% at 5 p.m. That's provisional, and in a little while we will have the details. But I just want to go through our panelists before we actually get into a lot of the data over here. Rajat Sethi with us in the studio, Manisha Priyam sitting next to him, Dr. Manisha Priyam, a political analyst who's been helping us a lot in trying to understand all of this. We are joined by Amitabh Tiwari. Amitabh, thanks very much, a political strategist. Tushar Gupta, senior editor, Swarajya. With us, Smita Gupta, senior journalist, and someone who I rely on quite heavily whenever I don't understand a lot of these things. Thank you very much for being with us. And Shugato Srinivas Raju, the senior journalist, with us as well. I just wanted to go across, in fact, let me come across to you, Tushar. What are the stakes for the BJP? What are the stakes for the Congress? We'll get into the micro data, but in terms of the BJP and making its mark in South India, how critical are these elections?
Well, let's look at the larger picture. Yeah. Let's assume that BJP does not come out as the single largest party in this election. It ends up with 80 seats, 85 seats, and a 35 to 38% vote share. It can still make a comeback in the 2024 elections. But for the Congress, if they do not win this election or emerge at least as the single largest party, even if not the majority, then it's curtains for them for 24. This is again one of the matches we have, the parties are fighting ahead of the 2024 elections. The BJP has shown before that they can lose 3 state elections and then come back 6 months later to win the national election. But for the Congress, this is an existential crisis. They have let go of Punjab, they have lost in Uttarakhand where they were expected to win, they have lost in Goa. Things do not look great in Rajasthan, so Karnataka is their last hope.
It's a very important election. You're right for the Congress. I mean, this would, in fact, most of their hopes ahead of 2024, the revival of the Congress party that we have been talking about will rest on the result of this election going forward. It also will somewhere, Manisha Priyam, if I'm not mistaken, will give Congress, if they win this election, much more bargaining power, much more bargaining chip when it goes to the opposition for that elusive opposition's unity ahead of 2024.
So surprisingly, yes, it's of course very important for the Congress party to do well in this election. It's also important for the BJP to do very well in this election. But surprisingly, I look at it as a very strong ideological moment for state politics in India. One important principle of reservations started way back before independence has been put to test by the BJP by introducing a new principle of exclusion. Remember, Karnataka reservations were all about inclusion. Now the BJP for the first time, without any basis in a study of society or a backward classes commission or a verification of the courts or principles, said let's divide this or exclude on one principle and divide what we find as a surplus in a mathematical distribution principle. Now that test has been taken, and therefore the BJP and its model of Hindutva has come face to face with the Mandalites and the caste-based politics, a reshaping of the arena of state politics. It will have
but
its
that's not entirely
repercussions.
worked. I mean, they've not been able to implement it.
We don't know yet. But what I feel is that the body of the BJP and its whole ideology now has come face to face and squarely in front of the policies of ameliorating inequality or having more inclusive societies in India. The BJP ideology has now come face to face with that and said, here is a new proposal that I have.
Right.
And it's almost like a referendum for grassroots work. And surprisingly, I find that the people countering that are the people with the smallest numbers, the JDS, who we tend to overlook and say, oh, the role of the the kingmaker. But if you find on the ground, you will find from 2022, the people taking up the anti-Bajrang Bali agenda, surprisingly, Revanna in Belur, Lingesh, for example, taking it up there.
Okay,
so,
but just half a second, let me bring Smita in on this. When it comes to the entire effort by the BJP to alter the reservation arithmetic, as it were, it's not gone through. It's been challenged in the court. We don't know what will ultimately happen. It's not been implemented. I mean, that is the reality. Do you believe that this would be a factor, even though it's not yet been implemented, perhaps it never will be implemented, in the minds of voters?
Perhaps not in this election, but certainly in the future. I think this caste dynamic, playing with caste, will affect Karnataka politics in the future. But in this election, we've seen the BJP going through some difficulties, because you saw just a few months back, you saw SR Bommai, all kinds of efforts to hike up the Hindutva issue, bring it center stage. You had the hijab issue, you had lynchings, you had a whole series of issues, and suddenly all that went cold. It was almost as though the BJP felt that Hindutva is not going to pay us dividends across the state.
Until the Bajrang Bali issue came up towards
Until the Bajrang Bali issue.
Yeah, where they decided. What is your view on that? What Smita is mentioning is important, that there was a reservation issue. There was a sense that the BJP would be pushing a very strong Hindutva line. Somehow during the campaign, that fell through. The Tipu issue was perhaps not as strong as one expected. The hijab issue wasn't as strong as one expected. And then the Bajrang Bali issue came up with the Prime Minister's rhetoric on it. So how do you sort of look at that campaign?
When Bommai was brought in, that is when Yediyurappa was asked to step down and Bommai was brought in. The reason why he was brought in was the BJP wanted to try a certain kind of universal electorate. They wanted to build an universal electorate, because Karnataka has always been this very micro-caste kind of electorate. So they tried to do that for the first 10 months of his tenure. And BJP is a party that learns quickly. So when they tested waters and it did not sort of have the traction that they expected, they quickly dumped it and went back to the classic idea of caste and caste identity. And Manisha ji spoke about exclusion. I would sort of not look at it so harshly, but I would like to point out that whatever internal reservations were given, the extra that was given, of course, that's in court and it has to be sort of worked through the courts. Correct. And then the parliament has to approve it and all that. It was a pressure that was there at the grassroots level, which the BJP was acknowledging. Yeah, but it could be within the Lingayats or within the Dalits. See, we tend to speak about the Lingayat factor, but the Dalit factor, see, it was a kind of demand for the last 30 years.
Yeah, but and especially, Vishnu, being 8-9 days on the ground there, Amitabh Tiwari, if I may bring you in on this, may I say that somewhere this whole reservation issue, even though it is in limbo right now, did help the BJP arrest the whole Lingayat, a lot of defections and the voices within the community that after Yedurappa was removed as the chief minister, it somewhere has at least helped calm those fears. Will I be wrong when I say that this may not have an overarching, impact on the election, but specifically for the Lingayat community, it has helped calm fears in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party because of, Mr. Shettar, Lakshman Sadhi, so many people going. This could have spelled trouble for the Bharatiya Janata Party. It is their core base.
Yeah, it could in a way prove to be beneficial to the BJP to keep the Lingayat vote intact. However, we have to feel that the Lingayat and the Vokkaliga votes are political rivals. So if you're giving 2% each to both, it sort of negates and cancels each other.
Okay.
However, the important part is the increase in reservation of the SC and ST, which Savataji is saying, by 3% and 4% each. In that case, because nationally if you see, BJP has been able to win the highest number of SC and ST reserved seats, but somehow in Karnataka it has always been lagging the Congress amongst support of the SC and STs. So this could help them to gain some amount of traction among the SC and STs in Karnataka, where the Congress has been leading against the BJP.
But it's also very complex, the whole, even in the STS situation, the left and the right, there are too many equations at play as far as the politics there is concerned. But very quickly, Rajat, before we go out to our guests, those who are also joining us, from outside, for you, Rajat, a lot of people have been saying that this election possibly is going to be the election which will be decided in the OMR, the Old Mysuru region. It's also somewhere a battle of survival for the JDS as well. Manisha ji was touching upon that. It will send across larger points or talking at least points as far as the regional satraps are concerned, sandwiched between these two big political players, national parties, which are playing for the power in the state of Karnataka.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you look at where the BJP started its poll campaign for Karnataka, it was Mandya region, it's an Old Mysore region. It wanted to give two strong messages. First, we are going to push south as we can, because that's where the epicenter or the center of gravity for southern politics lies. And the messaging was clear that the BJP is going to go into the den of JDS and into the Congress and claim that it has won hearts and minds of the voters down south. So Old Mysuru region, how it is going to pan out, would the caste reservation issue be an issue over there? All of these things are going to come up together, but yes, southern Karnataka is an important sort of a make or break thing in this election. If BJP is able to create a dent into the JDS vote share, I can see that BJP will cross over the majority mark as well.
Veeraraghav, you wanted to come in? Go ahead.
No, look, I think there's just important data that I just want to point out right now in terms of voting percentages, though of course voting percentages get updated until tomorrow. If you look at the Mandya constituencies, the heart of the Vokkaliga bastions, and since you guys are discussing that, the heart of the Vokkaliga bastion is reporting 75% plus voting percentages, whether it's a Maddur, whether it's a Malavalli, so I think that's important to look at it. I don't think it's about caste reservation or larger issues. I think here the question is really whether the JDS remains firmly the holder of that caste vote, or can that be broken? I mean, yes, the BJP has made an effort, but remember, the BJP has had a very marginal presence. It's had single-digit vote shares in these constituencies in the past. So even if it ups the vote share, there are two questions here. One is, if it ups the vote share, whose vote is it going to cut? Is it going to be at the cost of the JDS? A lot of people believe that because the Janata Party JDS vote was always the anti-Congress vote, when the BJP increases its vote share in a JDS bastion, there are those who believe that it actually benefits the Congress in a three-way fight. Now, I think this election will test A, whether BJP actually has increased its vote share, B, I mean, in terms of its experiment, B, existential crisis for the JDS, as Sugata pointed out the other day. They've always had an existential crisis. The question is whether they can hold on to their caste vote. So I think it's not just the Congress. This is an election about the Congress having its existential crisis, sections within the BJP having an existential crisis, or whether they're going to remain the Karnataka model, and for the JDS as well in terms of its caste dynamics.
I just wanted to quickly introduce our panelists who are also joining us. Mohan Kumar Mangalam, National Spokesperson of the Congress. My colleague Maya Sharma. Oh, sorry. Did I say colleague? former colleague Maya Sharma, but I think in our hearts she's still very much our colleague. Joins us as well. We've also got Dr. Ajay Alok, spokesperson of the BJP, Tanveer Ahmed, spokesperson of the JDS. Thank you all very much for being with us. Mohan Kumar Mangalam, just a quick question to you. You know, there have been polls and surveys and studies which seem to have indicated that the Congress has been on the ascendancy before these elections, but at the same time, they have not taken into account the Modi blitz in, let us say, the last 10 to 12 days. The fact that there's been this controversy on the Kerala movie, there's been this controversy on Bajrangbali. This is where Modi came into his own, his rhetoric, his how he sort of pulled it in. Do you believe that's a real worry for you?
Vishnu, I've actually just returned from a 95% rural constituency in central Karnataka where I was for the last 22 days. And I can tell you none of these issues actually matter on the ground. Karnataka, from what I've seen, is a hyper-local election. It's the candidate, the subcastes, and maybe overarching issues like inflation, unemployment, that the entire state is beleaguered with. So those are the issues that are actually resonating on the ground. The Bajrangbali issue maybe lasted a day. People were talking about it, but it was gone as soon as it came in. And if you look at the BJP's narrative, they've been jumping all over the place. Well, actually, no, it's not really surprising. They basically have three different things. One is religious polarization, which they started with. Then they had the prime ministers deifying the prime minister, if you will, making people call him godlike, and then him playing the victim card when someone retorts or responds to his criticisms.
Right.
And then there is this pseudo-nationalism, jingoism, hyper-nationalism, if you will, calling the opposition terrorists and confounding state sovereignty with actually national sovereignty. So they've been jumping all over the place trying to find a foothold.
Okay.
But throughout the campaign, they haven't been able to find one at all.
May I suggest, just for the sake of the discussion here, Vishnu, on this Bajrang Dal issue, it's like most people have been talking about, that it's a mistake, self-goal by the Congress party, a faux pas, usual Congress thing that right at the death overs they make a mistake. May I suggest an alternative, theory? It is a very well thought out mention as far as the Congress is concerned. What they possibly wanted to do with this is that this time the difference between the Congress party getting a majority if they win would possibly be if the minority votes completely consolidate behind the Congress party, not only in the old Mysuru region, but also to try and save that defection or the split in the minority vote in the coastal Karnataka areas as well. So this possibly could have been a very well thought out mention by the Congress, knowing fully well that there could be a lot of talking point on this, and this could polarize the Muslim voters behind the Congress party. It would be beneficial for the Congress and could, act against the JDS and also the BJP in the coastal Karnataka areas. Maya, would you like to take that up?
Well, absolutely. I think that, yes, initially the thought was, what is happening now? We're bringing in the element of Hindutva by mentioning the ban on Bajrang Dal. We had people chanting the Hanuman Chalisa in various places. We had Jai Bajrangbali slogans being shouted everywhere. So initially, yes, the thought was, that has the Congress kind of allowed the BJP to do what it does best when it comes to Hindutva, when it comes to that kind of pressure. But on the ground, I mean, there have been rebuttals of that also, that saying Bajrang Dal is not Hanuman. That I mean, I did read somewhere that people say that criticism of the Janata Dal is not then a criticism of the Janata. It's like, there is that as well. There is that fight back saying that an organization being banned, an organization is not the deity who many people may actually respect and worship. So whether that whole Bajrang Dal ban plan will actually have a negative effect on the Congress, I'm really not sure about that.
Okay.
Because many people have actually said that Karnataka doesn't really go in for this Hindutva divide as much as other states.
Okay, Maya, half a second. Veera, I'll come to you in a moment, but the images that we have on our screen are of electronic voting machines being sealed, and they will be taken back by the Election Commission to various centers. Remember, 13th is the big day. It's all going to be counted. It all happens in double quick time. We'll be here from 7 a.m. in the morning. But I just quickly wanted to go to Dr. Ajay Alok to get a quick response on the point mentioned by Mohan Kumar Mangalam, that this is an election which is going to be fought entirely on local issues. It's not going to be fought on, for example, issues of sovereignty, state versus the center, or national patriotism issues, as it were.
Of course, what they will speak and what they will think. They will think the election will go their way. But it never happens in the democracy. In democracy, people look at everything. People look at the development work, what has been done by the state government in the last 4 years. The election will be fought on that issue. See, our agenda was clear. Our agenda was development. Their agenda was consolidation and appeasement. We just started doing almost 2 years before the election, before the PFI was banned. If you remember, I'll just make your memory fresh a little bit. Before the PFI was banned, PFI just demanded two things. That put a budgetary allocation of 10,000 crores and increase the Muslim reservation from 4 to 6%. Exactly, the Congress did it in their manifesto. And to add salt to the wound, they added Bajrang Dal also. And they think that we are equating it with Bajrang Bali. It's actually that the Congress has lost connect with the people. There's no connect with the people. Just by merely saying that these 5 guarantees we are going to win the elections. We have seen the results in UP, Uttarakhand.
Okay.
Partial relief for them in Himachal Pradesh, maybe due to anti-incumbency or something like that. But basically, the election was fought on the issue of development, on the issue of leadership, on the issue of good governance, a clean government, and a government with a vision.
Okay.
Not a government with a...
Mr. Alok, I'll just come back to you. Let me also bring in Tanveer, Ahmed of the JDS, who is also with us. You must be hearing, Tanveer, everybody is talking about the whole Mysore region, specifically how the BJP and the Congress have gone all out to try and chip away that Vocaliga vote from the JDS's kitty. How does the JDS at this moment, how confident do you feel on what's happening, and what do you make of this very high voting percentage that Veera Raghav was telling us, specifically in Mandya area and others?
Firstly, I think Mr. Ajay Alok and all the people need to really say that election is over. Let's not really resort to rhetorics. Rhetorics are over. Now, talking of the ground reality, yes, certainly Mandya region, in Karnataka, let's really understand, we have 70 urban seats and 154 are rural. And mostly rural election is fought based on caste, sub-caste. And a lot of minuscule details are really taken into consideration. Last time, the way BJP tried to really take away our candidates and lure them, and then like KRPet, we had to really lose one of our candidates to BJP. So this time there was an absolute, since this is Mr. SD Devgowda is on a last leg, and Kumaraswamy, the way he really took the entire election to the people, the high percentage we were expecting, it is only because they wanted to really see their man, which is a Vakaliga community leader, to become the chief minister, because Congress was very uncertain who is going to be the chief minister, whether it is DK Shivakumar or it is Siddaramaiah or anybody else.
Come and see.
All right.
Come and see.
Second important is, the BJP never announced their chief minister candidate. It was actually, to be very precise, the fight was between Kumaraswamy and Mr. Narendra Modi ji, and people really saw in that region that now in regions.
Mr. Kumaraswamy versus Mr. Modi being the dominant face of the BJP, which is always going to be the case for the BJP.
In Mysore region, I'm talking.
And you discount.
I'm talking about the Mysore region.
Okay, all right. No Congress leader. It was just a straight fight between Modi and Mr. Kumaraswamy. I'm going to take.
I'll just tell you a reason. Very reason. Because if at all you see, Siddaramaiah was very scared whether he's going to lose his seat. Right. So he didn't really come to campaign at all in this entire region.
Okay,
so
Tanveer, I'm interrupting you now because I need to take a short break. I'll come back with a lot more. We're going to take this short break, and in about 5-6 minutes or so, the first exit poll should be before us.
The first round of exit poll will be in the studio, and then we'll get the numbers as well, because after the numbers start coming, everybody would be wiser in what they wanted to predict. So we'll first do a round here in the studio, and then we'll figure out the numbers coming in from various agencies. A quick break, coming back, stay tuned. News and updates continue. It's going to be exciting after just this short break. The numbers will be coming in.
Co-powered by 20 years since we started. This music has been with you, playing in your homes, at work, and in your car. Now, we want you to share your version of it. calling all music buffs from across India to let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track for the world to hear. Log on to ndtv.com/bestofndtv to access the original track, get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for two to the luxurious Alida Fort, Bishangarh, Rajasthan. NDTV 24/7. 20th year celebrations.
Congress people have been perpetrating the PFI and organizations like that.
कर्नाटक की सरकार ने पिछले 3 साल में क्या किया, उसके बारे में प्रधानमंत्री एक शब्द नहीं बोलते।
This time BJP is going to come back with thumping majority in spite of some leaders leaving the party.
प्रदेश की बीजेपी सरकार है, वो 40% सरकारा के नाम से प्रसिद्ध हुई है।
Unnecessarily, these Congress people charging corruption charges.
BJP manifesto has completely failed.
I am also an aspirant for the Chief Minister post. Mr. D.K. Shivkumar is also an aspirant.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story. India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
Gadgets 360 is here to help you with all your tech needs.
Gadget 360, Gadget Love. Gadgets 360, Gadgets Love.
You too can get some gadget love with buying guides, expert reviews, and all the latest news on Gadgets 360.
20 years since we started, this music has been with you. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track. Log on to ndtv.com/bestofndtv. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for two. NDTV 24/7. 20th year celebration.
In a deeply polarized world, where space for disagreement is shrinking, where take it or leave it defines discourse, we take a step back. A debate has many facets, perhaps no one right answer. Left, right and center, conversations that get to the core.
All right, welcome back. Just another 2 or 3 minutes, and we're going to get the first round of exit polls. And Veera, of course, knows this. He's known this for a very long time. He didn't need exit polls. But be that as it, Veera, be that as it may, let me ask you this. And I think a point our viewers need to know is that there is no party which has, come to power back to back in Karnataka since what, almost 4 decades, right?
That's right. Since 1985, when Ramakrishna Hegde got himself re-elected after a midterm government. Since 1985, you've not had a same government re-elect. And since 2004, except Siddaramaiah, you've not had any chief minister complete his term because the BJP has had 2 terms in office. JDS has had 2 terms, but no one's been able to, finish their term. And this is why when we were trying to put out bellwether seats for Karnataka, there was a question, somebody just threw up and asked a question saying, should a seat be a bellwether seat if the party forms a government, party which wins it forms the government? We said no, because there are 3 governments that change in Karnataka every term. So it's the party that emerges as single largest party that's government. Just wanted to add, bring the conversation back to the point that Ankit was making about the strategy over the Bajrang Dal thing. Ankit, I think yes, we've heard this talk, but I think it may not be really, it may not have been really a wise strategy at the end of the day, now that polling's over, because it results in a consolidation, and BJP was trying to create a narrative around the Hindutva plan. They were not able to create it since the time the reservation decision was made out. And suddenly in the last minute of the campaign, when the Prime Minister is here, it's sort of playing into their hands at some level. That's what most observers would feel.
But I think we would be wiser when we know whether who's winning. So once if the Congress wins, then we'll know possibly that strategy worked. If the BJP does, then it will look like exactly what the observers are saying, that the Congress played into the hands as far as the BJP is concerned. But very, very interesting, and it's about time. I think in the next 4 to 5 minutes.
But I have a warning, Ankit, and maybe you'd like to take this on, Amitabh. In 2018, opinion polls got it all wrong in Karnataka, right?
Oh yes.
They said what the Congress would win with the highest number of seats. That didn't happen.
2 out of 11 got it right in opinion polls.
Yeah.
But exit polls, 4 out of 6 got it right. But the most famous one got it wrong.
Okay, so before the exit poll data trickles in, and then everybody says this is exactly what I was thinking, we'll go one by one to all our guests. I'll be more than happy.
Let's go to Kartikeya, but
if you want to put a number, if you don't want to put a number, at least give me a party which you think is going to be in the leading position. Starting with you, Kartikeya, the first question, in fact, of the day to you is, who do you think is winning? Who are you putting your money on?
Way to give me some time for warm up, Ankit. Thank you so much.
No warming up. It's a T20 match at this stage.
I think I'm Rinku Singh, it seems. So I'll do that. I think Congress in the lead, BJP second, close second, I think. I frankly, because as the discussion was happening, I sort of think that the religious polarization issue, as big as it may have been made to be, will not have a big impact outside certain pockets. There are seasoned journalists from Karnataka who would sort of probably corroborate this or disagree with it. But I think beyond coastal Karnataka, some areas of central and maybe the Dharwad area, I don't see that happening. Any consolidation that might happen on an Hindutva issue in coastal area would have anyway happened for the BJP, I feel. So I think that the voter in Karnataka, we have to come out of this sort of, the way the frame of reference of election analysis for every state is different, guys. And I think we at times have trouble disentangling those things. And I think that, just extrapolating how UP and Jharkhand or MP might vote to Karnataka is not a very good strategy. Totally. So my sense is that...
All right, I'm interrupting you, Kartikeya, because we've got the first set.
No, let's get quickly numbers. Numbers.
The number
Rajat Sethi, quickly give me the numbers. The numbers are out. So just take 1 minute, give me the numbers. Rajat Sethi, go ahead.
I think BJP would hover around 90.
90 BJP, okay.
And the Congress would be around 95.
95 Congress. Dr. Manisha Priyam.
No, the Congress getting close to a majority on its own or with a majority. That's what I feel is going to happen. Of course, BJP second and the JDS third, but that's what it's like.
Congress has edge in the election.
Congress
has the edge.
Has the edge. Tushar?
BJP is somewhere in the nervous 90s.
And Congress?
100, 105.
Okay, I'm just going to stop that over there so that we can actually read this out. This is the TV9 Bharatvarsh poll strat, and we've got the Republic TV mark as well.
Yeah.
So let's just go with the Republic one that's just come in, where BJP between 85 and, remember total seats 224, the BJP between 85 and 100, the Congress at between 94 and 108, so quite slender.
It's a dead heat.
The JDS between 24 and 32. You want to go ahead and read the
It's a dead heat. I mean, as far as this data is concerned, it's a very, very close election. If Republic TV... Mark, just coming.
Let's just read one second. Just read the next one, TV9.
The TV9 Bharatvarsh poll strat data says it's giving Congress an edge, 99 to 109 for the Congress, 88 to 98 for the Bharatiya Janata Party, 21 to 26 for the JDS. So 2 exit polls have come out. At this moment, more or less, they have one thing in common. They are giving JDS in the 20s and Congress in the BJP quite close. TV9 Bharatvarsh has given an edge to the Congress with 99 to 109 seats.
It's almost identical, both of them. Veera Raghav, go ahead. Your initial thoughts on this.
Just a quick point. I'm not, just a quick point, anything below 120 is a defeat for the Congress in these elections.
Okay, the Z has come out with its numbers as well. The Z News, half a sec, Viraj, the Z News Matrize agency, they have got...
Interesting. You know, the Z News is now...
The Congress at 100,
they are giving a majority to the Congress.
So
113 is the majority mark.
Is the magic mark.
112, yeah.
103, 130, so 103 to 118 is for the Congress, 79
to 94.
So the lower figure over here, it's not lower than, it is the lowest of the other compared to the 3.
Yeah. So numbers have started coming in.
Okay. So let's get Shugato into your initial thoughts on this. All right, so Z is suggesting that the BJP is suggesting that the Congress between 103 and 118 and the BJP between 79 and 94. Z places the Congress ahead, but the others are neck and neck. Republic is 94 to 108 for the Congress. TV9 is 99 to 109. And for the BJP, it's 85 to 100 for Republic and 88 to 98. So within 2 of what Republic TV is saying.
No, but I think now...
TV9 and Republic
has changed their numbers because it's 85, Republic is 85 to 100 for the BJP and 94 to 108 for the Congress. So basically, all 3 surveys are giving an edge to the Congress party. They are, all of them...
Within 1 seat of each other, the Republic and
Vishnu and Ankit.
Yeah,
Vishnu and Ankit, it's not about an edge for the Congress party. Given the nature of Karnataka and given the fact that the BJP is the party in power here, I think the Congress is looking at above 120, as has been publicly stated. I'm saying what the Congress party is saying, leaders. So if it's this close an election, then it's Congress is in a very difficult wicket. It may be ahead, but if they don't cross the mark comfortably on their own, they're going to be in a difficult state.
As everybody in Karnataka have been saying, there is only one way that the Congress can make a government. That is a clear majority of their own.
This could be a hung situation right up the top, which is what... go ahead.
Can I give an interesting statistic?
Yeah, please.
In 2019 Lok Sabha elections, if you look at the assembly constituencies, BJP won 177 of them and Congress had just 36. But the interesting aspect was that the BJP had gained a lead compared to 2018 of between 0 to 10% in almost 80 seats. And the Congress had lost.
But that's because the JDS vote, JDS always polls about 20% vote in assembly
and also, News Nation CGS, hold on. News Nation CGS data has come. This is the first exit poll so far which is giving BJP a clear majority. 114 for the BJP, 86 for Congress plus 21 for the JDS. So the only exit poll at this moment which seems to be favoring the Bharatiya Janata Party forming their government with a majority is News Nation CGS, which is giving 114 to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Just coming back to that point that you were talking about, the extrapolation also at this moment.
Look,
go ahead.
Ankit, we can't do that extrapolation in Karnataka primarily because the JDS gets a 20% vote in every assembly election. It drops to 9% in a parliamentary election.
True, and also the parliament election is different. The Prime Minister is on the ticket. There are complete different dynamics.
No, but I think it's not just that. We're just getting our thoughts on
third player doesn't exist
on what this actually has to say.
Modi factor is more than 50% in Karnataka in national elections.
That's true.
And that is versus 31% in all India average.
Amitabh, let's just sum it up. You've got one which is completely in favor of the BJP, and the others which are more or less similar with Congress.
Let's get political reactions on this for how
it's on expected lines. 3 out of last 4 elections have thrown hung verdict. This also shows that it could be a hung verdict with Congress as the SLP. However, what Veera Raghava is saying is that...
Can I make a point, Vishnu?
In the last 2 to 3 times when there has been a hung assembly, the SLP has not been able to form the government.
Right, the single largest party has not been able to.
It happened in 2018 as well. BJP could
2004 as well.
2004 as well. Let's very quickly get reactions from Karthikeya. I'm just coming to you. Let me start. In fact, at this moment, Mr. Ajay Alok, at this moment, there is only one exit poll which is giving BJP the edge. Though others giving, it's a close fight, but the 3 out of 4 exit polls are keeping Congress ahead.
Well, with all due respect to the exit polls, I must say one thing. that in 2018 also, none of the...
Okay, so there's a second one which gives the BJP...
Yeah.
I mean, you may not want to use the word edge. I take the point that Veera's making, but, you know, it seems to suggest that you may be just a little bit ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Well, we'll
Ajay, go ahead, yeah.
When the results will come, actually, because we are pretty sure, because we have our own internal survey and we have our own internal dynamics, because we are talking here of Panna Pramukh. We talk to our voters. So with our calculation, we are comfortably ahead of majority. I hope so. There should be no problem in forming the
what is it that the BJP, I mean, now forget the rhetoric,
I have a question,
Ajay.
Vishnu.
Ajay, what is the number that you were looking at, 130? I mean, now that the elections are over?
And let me complete one thing. The last election was concluded in 2019, not 2018. And in 2018, BJP alone got 51% of votes, irrespective of caste, creed, and region.
Okay. Veera Raghavan, you had a point to make. Go ahead, Veera. Yeah.
I just have a question. Given that the BJP has never, ever, in an assembly election, come close across the 112 mark, what is the confidence that the party has this time, given that you are fighting anti-incumbency? Why is it the party is claiming that it can emerge as across the halfway mark this time? What is that X factor that you're talking about?
See, when we are talking here, we are talking of Karnataka's diversity in terms of caste and creed, and in terms of how caste is important even within the party, in terms of Lingayat, Vokalinga, Kavadu, Dalit, Banjara and all. But we are not talking in terms of what you see the beneficiary group, what the Prime Minister has had in the last 9 years.
Okay, Ajay, half a second. Let Ankit, I think what we can do, and if you just help me out on this, Ankit, let's have this up full frame, and let's just reflect on what all of this is all about. We'll just sort of digest this for a moment. So, if you look at News Nation, they've placed the BJP at 114, the Congress at 86, the JDS at 21. Republic TV PMarg has placed the BJP at between 85 and 100, the Congress at between 94 and 108, and the JDS between 24 and 32. If we look at Suvarna News, they placed the BJP at between 94 and 117, the Congress between 91 and 106, and the JDS at 14 to 24. If you look at TV9 Bharatvansh, you've got 88 to 98 is to the BJP, the Congress ahead over here, 99 to 109, 21 to 26 for the JDS. And finally, Z News has got the BJP at 79 to 94, right? The Congress at 103 to 118, and the JDS at 25 to 33. So the BJP at a lowest of 79, going all the way up to 117, depending on what you're looking at.
You know what's also interesting in this is that out of these 5 surveys, the upper limit for 2 surveys is giving the BJP an absolute majority. 114 and 117 is 2 surveys are saying. Only one, though they are giving an edge to the Congress party, but only one, the upper limit is giving Congress a full house majority market, 118.
Vishnu, Ankit.
Yes, Veera Raghavan, please go ahead.
I think all polls are hedging their bets. They're predicting a defeat or potentially what. So I think it's or they're all.
How does it help their credibility by hedging their bets?
They have to be in this business for a long, long time.
No, because I think the margin, if you're looking at the kind of margins that they're projecting, it might be, it could be this way or that way. I think they're all predicting a potential hung assembly. That's the takeaway from the exit polls.
Shugata, would you agree that a hung assembly essentially is where this is an India? We aren't doing a poll of polls because that can potentially go wrong as well. Let's look at these individually.
Vishnu, this is a deja vu kind of situation because 2018 was exactly similar. And you grossly underestimated the JDS numbers.
Yeah.
So JDS numbers was also projected between 22 and 26 in 2018. For a moment, I thought they are repeating their plates, 2018 plates. So if the others are getting, close to a majority number, and if the JDS is where it is, then it's a.
Maraswamy is CM.
Yeah,
then it's a finish your thought.
It's somebody would be forming the government on their own.
JDS is going to be kingmaker. That's what you're saying.
No, what I'm trying to say is that if the numbers are correct,
then one
that the JDS numbers are going to be 25 or 26, it's going to be slightly higher.
Okay.
So if that is going to be higher, then either the BJP has to surrender its numbers or the Congress has to surrender its numbers, which will bring the whole thing down. So it is a hung assembly.
So Mr. Kumaraswamy, all his extra phones and number of phones will be all ready. I mean, he'll start getting the calls and the permutation combinations.
I think it's not
start
correct.
working it out.
It's not correct to sort of, I mean, frame Kumaraswamy in such a fashion, because see, this is 20% vote coming from a certain region which believes in the leadership of that party, believes in a certain caste identity, believes in a certain kind of outlook and worldview. So it is just to dismiss them as kingmakers, I don't think is the right thing to do.
But that's not a dismissal of them as a kingmaker. They are quite important in the play of things for Karnataka. Whatever happens, they can't be.
What I'm trying to say is,
I'm
coming to the next point. What I'm trying to say is that exit polls or opinion polls tend to focus on two big parties. So that is where you may go wrong. I'm not trying to say that
you are suggesting that the JDS numbers might be significantly larger, right?
Not significantly
larger. They may be more
See,
substantial.
they cannot get anything more than 40 is my belief. Right. The best case scenario, because the head-on fights, if you look at just the numbers, I don't think they will cross that number.
But Smita,
and today,
I have a quick question, Vishnu.
Go ahead. Veera, just half a second, Veera. Smita, I mean, give us your view on what you are seeing. I mean, it's all over the place.
See, as far as even though three of those...
Let's have the up full screen again, just in terms of
even if,
the entire thing.
Most of the surveys are showing that the Congress is ahead. Unless the Congress gets majority plus something, it is unlikely that the Congress will form the government, if these numbers are correct. Because other things may be different in Karnataka. Somebody said, one of your panelists, that you can't judge the way elections happen in Karnataka the way you judge UP or Jharkhand. But when it comes to government formation, I think the same rules apply everywhere.
And Vishnu, the last time the single largest party did form the government, they lost the vote on the floor.
Sugata,
in 7 days.
So one thing,
Dr. Priya, and you remember the
question to Sugata.
Supreme Court hearings and all that.
In all the numbers, even those that give an edge to Congress party, the BJP seems to be doing better than what was normally believed. I think that's a very important takeaway, whether you give them a clear majority. And I do think the other part of the argument, and I agree completely with Sugata, the party that is regionally concentrated, that region is such an important region, the old Mysuru region. The Prime Minister put all his bets on that region, including that very important rally that he took out in the city of Mysuru.
Right.
Now, which is the party which has been taking on the BJP ideologically, not the Congress party's last-minute entry of Bajrang Bali, but it is the JDS that has been since 2022, have been tracking back in each of the constituencies. Those who said it's happening in Udupi, it was happening in Bellur. Now, who was taking on the BJP in Bellur? The JDS was taking it on. The local MLA Lingesh, in the assembly on the ground, Revanna, who's the MP for Hassan, taking it on the ground. So obviously, if it's an ideological battle on the issue of Bajrang Bali, it had an undertone.
Quick question to both Sugata as well as Manisha, since we are at the JDS this one. Every time I spoke with Devagowda Sugata this time, he said JDS will get quote-unquote a working majority. A working majority, not a clear majority. While Kumaraswamy keeps talking about clear majority, Devagowda categorically said working majority. What is the number you think the JDS would have to play around? I'm not talking of a hung assembly alone. If it's a hung assembly, what's the number that the JDS would need as a minimum threshold to call the shots like it did perhaps in 2006-07 or it did in 2018?
You want me to?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there is a particular number. It just depends on how short the other two parties fall. So, and today, I think Kumaraswamy has made a statement somewhere that
it's between 14 and 33. So again, this is also fairly all over the place.
So Kumaraswamy has said that we would have done better in 25 seats if we had more money. So today, I think somewhere in Bangalore, he has made that statement. So he has always said we'll get 123 and we will form the government. So that is completely out of whatever. But I think they are going to retain 18 to 19% of their vote share, and their strike rate will be higher. because it's a concentrated vote share that they're going to get, unlike the
Rajat has been waiting for a while. Rajat, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I just wanted to pick from where Manisha ji had left. 3 months before the election, BJP was hovering at around 60 to 70. There were just so many headwinds not working in favor of the party. There were this issues of corruption, and the whole narrative was something.
Well over 70 now in everything.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. When your campaign starts speaking too early, because, you know, a Congress party has been working for the past 6-7 months, and they laid all their cards before. And when it could have peaked at perhaps the right time, when Prime Minister Modi came in and swept away those critical 20-25 seats, and which is going to make all the difference in terms of having a clear victory for Congress party versus a hung assembly that we are going to see.
No, and so Kartike, my question to you is it not your belief, therefore, that what I was asking in the beginning of the program, the Modi X factor, may just have changed equations? Because let us face it, the BJP, from all accounts, different surveys, etc., appeared not to be dominant about 15 days back. In many, some would suggest that they were ailing in Karnataka. They may just end up winning these elections. Is Modi,
Vishnu,
that factor?
Vishnu, I don't think they're going to win this election, to be honest. I think the Modi magic works in conjunction with when you have a decent state leadership. Here, you had a lot of headwinds at the state leadership level. Whatever the BJP will do will largely be because of the Prime Minister, you can say that, yes. But can he pull the election on his own? I doubt that. Because when it comes to re-electing incumbent government, Prime Minister Modi's appeal also goes down. Election after election has shown that. Can I also make another point on the nature of these exit polls? Is anybody reminded of the West Bengal exit poll, seeing this? When everybody was hedging, everybody was just hedging. And at the end of it, you saw a huge mandate, a one-sided mandate. My sense is the Congress could end up getting a clear mandate despite some of these channels. With all responsibility, I'm saying if they are hedging in favor of the Congress, they actually you can sense what's happening.
They're hedging by a huge margin. If you look at the Z News thing, it's BJP is 79 to 94. It could be anywhere in between.
And Vishnu, currently, if you look at the ones that I call the more reliable polls, if you look at what C-Voter and Access is doing, they're doing it sequentially. And I think there it's clear that at least as of now, the Congress seems to be doing in areas like central Karnataka.
Yeah.
Now, Veera and Maya will tell you how important that could be.
Kartika, I have to take a break. I have to take a break, and we'll come back to all of you, and Maya waiting also very patiently. We'll come back, take a look at all of these exit polls and what it actually means. Does it mean anything at all? Well, it just means that we journalists will have a lot of hard work to do over the next 1 week if it's going to be a hung assembly.
I know, it also means that at this moment our primetime slots and shows are decided. We are talking about this. Right. It gives us talking points and everything else changes
for the
on
next
the 13th
10 days.
when the result comes in. A quick break, we are coming back.